We just wrapped up speaking with Saints general manager Mickey Loomis, and he Stonewall will kind of be the word that I would use about that whole situation. He stonewalled every question that came up about Derek Carr. He was like, "We're not talking about Derek Carr, the people on the roster. We're talking about pre-draft and what's going to go on in the draft." So that's one of the many things he talked about. But let's start off there. What did you take from his comments?
There were a lot of comments today, a lot of no comments, a lot of we're starting with the car stuff.
Yeah, we'll start with the car.
There's nothing to say there. I mean, it was kind of, I didn't expect much. I expected a little more though, a little more, just something on it. I get why they're playing it the way they're playing it. There's probably still a lot of stuff to figure out. You're probably trying to keep it peaceful and not try to not try to go to war or anything like that. But I do think there was probably an opportunity there to set a tone. Like,
Yeah,
you got a new coach, you're trying to establish a culture. You got a guy that may or may not be all the way bought in, and if he's not, I mean, it's a chance to get everything on the right page. I think it's just time to go, man. Like, I think it's just time to be done with it and be over it and just start something new and start fresh and start clean. I get not wanting to tip your hand the day before the draft, but I think everybody already assumes it anyhow. I don't know what it really changes at all,
yeah,
unless you're coming out there to say he's coming back. But the fact that you can't say he's your starting quarterback, the fact that there's no update on it, I mean, it's all very, very telling. The fact that you're hoping to get clarity soon kind of tells me that you don't have clarity yet. I know that Loomis has talked to Derek Carr and all that stuff, but there's something there that isn't quite coming together, and it still points back to the same exact thing: is whether or not this shoulder surgery, if everybody's in agreement that it's a necessity. That's the only thing that my mind can go to, and without answers, all we can do is continue to speculate.
yeah. No, and that's not for a lack of poking and prodding, kind of for an answer of any kind. And he just shut every possible answer down. They had people in there trying to come from the side door, people trying to come to the back door, tunnel on the ground and come up and get an answer, like Mission Impossible, rappel for the
Yeah.
ceiling, looking for an answer, and he just was shutting it all down. So I don't know, kind of what that approach does kind of for the long term, because every time going forward he will be asked about this until there's a clear cut answer given.
Yeah, I think at some point he's going to be willing to talk about it. I don't think he was going to do it before the draft, and I don't think he's going to do it until it's settled. That's
Yeah,
just not his style. I mean, I'm not surprised by it. I'm frustrated by it though. I mean,
mhm.
it's frustrating to go in there and not get answers. You want to have answers. You want to know what's going on, and it just feels very weird still. And I'm just ready for it to be done. And I can't imagine anybody listening to this, regardless of how they feel about whether they want him back or not. I'm sure they want some finality to the situation
Yeah,
as well. And the fact that it's just lingering and ongoing is just incredibly frustrating. And it's something that you just don't want to be hanging over the whole entire season. You just want it to be done. You want it to be over with, and you want to be able to move on, and can't right now. And I don't know, kind of foolishly, I was maybe thinking that today there'd be something new, something more, and
you would
there's just
hope.
not.
Yeah,
And I don't. The approach doesn't ultimately matter, but yeah, it is frustrating to kind of get just no answers on it at all.
going on to another thing that was spoken about was he and Kellen Moore's relationship and how they're going in with the united vision. And even though they're not talking about Carr, and Carr is a very big and important part of that, being the starting quarterback, it's pretty good to hear that outside of that, which is a very important part, but outside of it, that they're on one accord and going forward with the same outlook.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff just kind of pointing toward it being built from the trenches. I mean, from back at the hotel, I can't remember what hotel we were at during the Super Bowl, sitting at that table with him, talking about his philosophies on team building and putting things together and how you do different things. We were talking about everything but the actual specific Saints. I mean, he was saying back then that his core belief, his one of the things foundational to how he views football is that you build it from the lines and then go back from there. And I think there's a lot of stuff pointing to that right now. I think that's that's where they're going to go at 9. Honestly, I mean, I really think if I had to bet today, it would be offensive line, Because of that. And then Mickey kind of supported that idea today. They're not giving Trevor Penning the 5th-year option. Doesn't mean they can't re-sign him. Still, they did the same thing with Cesar Ruiz and signed him to an extension. But I think as it stands right now, you can't call that pick anything other than a disappointment. I mean,
Yeah.
he became okay. Like you put him on the field and he wasn't a liability last year, but he wasn't a plus. Like he was okay in run blocking. He was a negative as a pass blocker. I think that you try to upgrade that position if the opportunity's there in this draft. And, I think that they just feel like if you get that line right, everything else becomes easier about playing football. And it sounds like Mickey's on the same page with that. But they were on the same page with that for a long time. I mean, man, every pick over the last 5, 6 years, it feels like has been on the offensive line in the first round, except for
Yeah.
Olave.
Brzee.
In Brzee was defensive line, so it was on one of the 2 lines every year
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
back. So Fuaga, Brzee, Chris Olave, obviously Penning same year, Peyton Turner, Ruiz, Eric McCoy was the first pick that year, Davenport. So since Lattimore, I mean, there's only been one first round pick that wasn't a trench player, and they had 2 picks that year. So definitely on the same page there. But I think a lot of stuff is pointing towards everything going that direction.
Yeah, and then that'll lead into another point that he made about how he realizes 5-12, that's just what it is, and now it's win now. So that bodes kind of well to adding to the trenches and getting that trench work in of having just protection up front to help you win now, because that was an issue the last couple of years, even when injuries and stuff were really a huge part of last year. But being that they've sat there and looked in the mirror and said, yeah, we're 5-12, that's what we have to atone for now going forward.
It's interesting because, like, I think it kind of is, but I also think I think that would be the most clearly indicative move toward rebuilding at the same time because there isn't an immediate need at all at the edge position. Like you could go into the season with Fuaga and Penning. I think a more like trying to win now move is taking the skill position player or something else. Because like you have holes there right now. So I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I see that point of view, but I also think that's kind of a more of a future looking move than, oh well, you got to get someone that can, you got to get T Mac out there right now to help with Spencer Rattler to get better or whatever. Like I think building on to something where I don't, it ain't a strength. It certainly ain't a strength, but
Yeah.
it's adding to a spot where you don't have a hole necessarily, which would be it would be interesting to me.
But in my mind, it could quickly become a hole if Penning regresses slightly.
Oh
It
yeah,
becomes a
sure,
hole very fast. And
sure.
so, even with that, that whole win now thing in my mind is okay. We have the line established. Whoever we put at quarterback, whether it's a rookie, whether it's Rattler, they can come in and eat. But of course, we'll speak about it later in the show. If you add those highly touted skill position players in there, yeah, it can make you win now for sure. But I think that having the offensive line shirt up will help in that regardless of
Oh,
who's in
no
there.
doubt. No, I mean, shoot, anything they can do to make the team better anywhere.
Yeah.
If you get a player that on November 15th, we're like, yeah, that was a good pick. I mean, like anything right now. I mean, they just need players, man. They need players. I
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna say it's the smartest thing, but I think when you hit on your offensive line, it's never dumb. I think it's only dumb when you pick people that aren't helping you right now. So,
Right.
and that's kind of been the problem a little bit. The philosophy behind just continuing to invest your high end resources into those spots, that isn't dumb. It's just like they haven't had the scouting right, and they've missed on way
Way
too many
too many.
players. And
Yeah.
Penning not getting this option, I mean, it's another miss. It's another huge big miss.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's another huge big miss. And you alluded to it earlier. He spoke on to kind of finish off the press conference, them picking up Chris Olave's 5th-year option and not with Penning. When it comes to Olave and kind of the health things that he's been going through over the last couple of seasons and really magnified last season, this 5th-year option, how do you see it working out?
He's got to stay healthy. I mean, guarantee him what, like $15 million now. Like he's got to stay healthy. He's just got to, But I think you have to stick with him. I'm not giving up on
Yeah,
Chris
of
Olave
course.
at all. Yeah, I mean, way too talented of a player. Obviously, injury risk there, but you have to do it. That's a no brainer. The Penning one to me, I mean, that pick to me is it bothers me the way that I think, like, the Peyton Turner pick bothers other people. Like, that pick really, really bothers me, the way it went. You went up for him. You traded up before the draft. There wasn't
Yeah,
a specific target at that spot. I mean, I'm sure there was a target, but it wasn't like, "This team's on the clock. Ooh, we're trading for the pick to take this guy." Like, it was before the draft to happen, so it was just get 2 picks. I was hearing from people before that draft, not necessarily with this team, but with other teams about him, like, the concerns about him. You get him in the building. He's just serviceable last year. The first 2 years, you really get nothing out of him. This year, we're talking about maybe, them trying to replace him with another player in the draft. That is a pick that bothers me
yeah,
more than a lot of the other ones. Peyton Turner was injuries, Davenport was injuries. This one was just like, can't get on the field. Pete wasn't good enough. Just some of the other misses. Stephon Anthony, like, that one. I mean, this feels similar to that almost to me. Granted, there's another year left on this, and you aren't giving up on it yet, but it feels like a really, really big miss to me on a position where you shouldn't have like massive misses like that. Like, it's
yeah.
just it bothers me a whole lot.
No, I mean, like that to me, when I even thinking about the way it went down, it's asking somebody for $1 for the vending machine and going in there and pick like a plain bag of Fritos or something like that. Like, there's way better stuff you can get than that mid snack, and that's kind of what it is. They went in there and put all the resources into getting somebody like Penning, and it hasn't returned in dividends at all.
Yeah, it's a big miss to me. Like, even, it just bothers me, man. Those first couple of years, like, you
Yeah,
got no value out of it at all. So even if it is, you just get 2 years of playing. I mean, it's not because he was hurt. It was just because, like, he couldn't play,
yeah,
and where he was coming from in that, like, that should have probably been known. Coming from that small school or whatever. It just felt like that's the stuff I don't want to see happen this year. I think these are the things that
no,
happen when you're when
can't
you're
happen.
when you're when you're trying to like, when you're afraid to be bad for a little bit, when you're afraid to wait to make the right moves, when you're just doing stuff because you have to do it. Look, at Fuaga I felt like a little bit of a forced pick too, and I feel like the value was there, but it was just, all right, going into the draft, going to leave this hole and going to take the best of whatever's left because that's who's got to be
Yeah,
picked, and or there should be one remaining. And I get it, and I understand why it had to happen, and that's probably a better value there, but you want it to be more specific, and I just hope whatever they're doing this year is more specific. And man, that one just it really bothers me. That's the one that I like.
yeah.
It's
No, I
crazy,
mean,
but like,
yeah,
I really
yeah.
have a hard time getting my head around it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an itchy spot that you can't reach. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. It bothers you. Any closing thoughts on the Loomis press conference? He gave us like 30 minutes worth of, well, 10 of those minutes where I'm not answering the question, but what are some closing thoughts?
No, not really. I mean, I just don't think that they're gonna force a pick at quarterback. That doesn't mean they aren't gonna take one. I just don't think that they're gonna be like wedging it in there to make it
Yeah,
happen where people. I think everyone's kind of moved off the idea of 9, but I just don't think they're gonna be overly aggressive at that position. But I think there's still scenarios where they'd be aggressive within the confines of what they deem responsible.
yeah, no, for sure.